Okay, welcome to Lesson 10, Mouse Events. Go ahead and get your bare bones HTML going. Pause this if you need to. What we're going to do is we're going to create a button, we're going to create a headline, and we're going to write some JavaScript to do something when we press that button. Okay, so let's go ahead, a little bit of HTML here. We're going to create a button, so start your button tag. The ID is going to equal, I'm going to call it BTN1, stands for button 1. That is in case we have more than one button, which we are not in this case, but we often do. And this is the text in the button. It's going to say press me. So make sure to close this first tag after button 1. And then closing tag for button. And then underneath that, an H1 tag, ID equals headline. And starting headline is going to be hello world. Close the button. Close the headline. Okay, so that's all the HTML we're going to be using. I'm going to get rid of this line here. Okay, so let me start my script. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that button. I'm going to create a variable to store it in JavaScript. Let btn1 equal document. You have to spell document right. Document get element by ID btn1. And as you'll notice, the variable name is the same as the ID. You definitely don't need to do it that way. I like to do it that way because I can easily keep track of it. But there's probably a lot of cases where you don't want to do that. So it's okay to have a variable name button1 and an HTML element with the ID button1, but it's not okay to have two variables in JavaScript with the same name. Okay. So I grabbed that. Now what I'm going to do is, here's the trick, btn1. I'm going to tell this button that if it's clicked, it needs to run a function. And the way we do that is we say btn1 add event listener quote click end quote comma change headline. So let's review that. I've got a button. I'm adding an event listener. What's an event? Event is like if someone presses the mouse, that's an event. That's a mouse event. Okay, there's also keyboard events. If someone presses a key, that's a keyboard event. So I'm saying grab that button, add an event listener. I'm listening for an event. And the event I'm listening for is a click on the mouse click. And then I'm going to run a function that I haven't defined yet called change headline. So now I need to, down here somewhere, I need to write a function. Function, it's called change headline. And what am I going to do? What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the headline. right? That's why we called it change headline. But I don't have a JavaScript variable yet for the headlines, so I got to create one. So underneath your btn1 event, add event listener, I'm going to type in let headline equal document. I spell document wrong a lot. Get element by it and go down here and click that. Get element by headline, because that's the ID. And so now I have a variable called headline that will grab the HTML headline. So in my function, I'm going to say headline inner text equals some interesting text here. Okay, let's save that. And here it is. Let's open the web browser. So it says press me, that's our button. And currently the headline is hello world. Let's press it. Oh, it changed. Very cool. Okay. So let's do something else with that headline. Let's go headline style color equals quote navy. That stands for navy blue. Let's see what that does. Well, we already know what that's going to do, right? Changes it to the color navy blue, which is not that different from black. It's dark. Excuse me. You know what? Let's change it to purple. Might show up a little better. Change it to purple. Okay. By the way, if you want to know, if you want to input different colors, if you Google CSS colors, you get a whole bunch of different colors that you can name here. Whole bunch. Yeah, that's pretty fun. I want to do one other thing down here in our function. I want our function to change the color of the button. So I'm going to go btn1 style. I'm going to change the background color of the button, meaning the color behind the text. Background color, camel case. In other words, the C is capitalized, equals orange. Let's see what that looks like. Run that. Ah, see that? That's pretty cool. Okay, so that is it for mouse event. I encourage you to play around with changing the text in different colors, maybe change the button text, maybe change the font size, and there's something called the font family. Maybe change the font family on the headline. Google or go to W3 Schools or Google JavaScript font family or something like that. You'll get all kinds of code. And by the way, a general note here is if you want to find something about JavaScript and you know roughly what the name of that something is, you can just Google it. Start with JavaScript. Like I said, let's say you want to know about font family, you just Google JavaScript font family. Okay? And that is it for lesson 10.